We can walk it off. We can measure it with a tape measure. Or we can use one of these really cool online applications, which is what I like to do. And I'm going to walk you through it. It's super easy, so don't go away. We're going to determine the size of our property using this online app. We're going to create a map. We can print it, and I hang it in my shed. Come on with me. We're going to go jump on the computer, and I'm going to show you guys how to map your property. All right, team. So welcome to Map Developers. This is a very easy internet web application. It's super easy. You can map your property in a matter of minutes. For the purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to select a town in North Jersey. It's called Morristown, New Jersey. You just type that in, hit enter. What you'll find is if you enter a complete address, you're still going to start at this zoom level. I haven't been able to successfully have it land on a street. I don't know if it's supposed to. So you need to have a little familiarity with the area that you're trying to map. But there's Morristown. So what I'm going to do is just explain how you can quickly map. On this map, you'll see there is a map view and there's a satellite view. Okay, you guys should be familiar with that. Over here on the top right, there's a toggle full screen. There is a street view. We're not going to use that. And then you have a plus and a minus, which is the zoom. So we're going to zoom in. Okay. In the center of Morristown, New Jersey, there is a municipal park. I'm going to use that park. It's public property. So nobody get upset that I'm mapping somebody's house or showing their house. So that's why I selected this park. Okay. Now let's just assume that this is your house. Okay. And that this isn't all treed. And these are areas that are easily defined because you're familiar with the property and you can see from the aerial view what areas of the property are being mapped. As you work your property, people tend to cut certain areas. You work in certain order. You kind of define your own zones as you go. I don't know if you realize it, but that's what happens. So what we want to do is this area here, I'm going to just pretend that this is all turf, okay? Let's pretend it's KBG. And then let's pretend that this area over here is all fescue. So we have zone 1 and we have zone 2. And I'm in charge of applying the fertilization and herbicide control, weed control, and fungus control for the season. So I need to know how big of an area I'm dealing with. Now, I don't want to map it. I don't want to, I should say I don't want to walk it. I don't want to measure it. I'm going to use this application and I can do it in a matter of minutes, okay? So what I'm going to do is I can reposition the map here just by clicking on it and moving it. If you guys are familiar with any internet mapping application, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so I have a little bit more accuracy. So I'm going to draw an area, okay? So to draw an area, we're going to go to the Draw New Area button. That is now activated. It's highlighted. My mouse now with the crosshairs is going to start mapping. So I'm going to go to one of these corners here and I'm going to click just once. Okay. Now as I move my mouse, you'll see this line that's extending. Okay. It's the perimeter mapping tool and it's going to follow my mouse. So what I can do is I can work my way around this area, and every time I need to change direction, I can click. And it basically drops a pin, leaves a little waypoint, okay? So it's almost like drawing, but because I can't turn it with my hand, I need to click. And when I click, it drops a pin, and then I can, change the direction of my line. So you really can do this with some fairly good accuracy. Let me look right there. I'm going around a corner, okay? And then I can even save myself some time and come all the way down because this is fairly straight, right back to this corner. Now watch what happens as I come up the last side. My crosshairs will turn into a hand, and that means I'm about to close the polygon. So I'm going to click, and it's highlighted. That's my zone. That's my zone 1. And what you may or may not have noticed on the application, it has now populated this data. It's 460 square meters, 4,951 square feet. It's provided me square acreage, square miles, square kilometers. It also gave me a perimeter. So if you're looking to put up a fence, you know, hey, look, it's 315 feet approximately. Gives you an idea. Okay, now we want to do zone 2. So what I can do is grab the map, pull it down a little bit, okay, and we're going to do this area, zone 2. So what I want to do is draw a new area. I'm going to click draw new area. The box is highlighted. I'm going to start at one of the corners. I'm going to drag all the way down. This one's going to be fast. I'm going to work my way around this corner, dropping 2 more. I'm going to come back down to this corner. I'm going to turn with the sidewalk, drop a few pins here. And if you're doing this on your property, you can zoom in, you can turn the satellite view off. Well, actually, you'll need the satellite view, but you can take your time. I'm just trying to speed this up so you guys don't leave and you get to see the end. Okay, so I'm coming around. Again, the hand appears, I click. It's now highlighted, and now I have 2 zones. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There you go. I have zone 1. I have zone 2. You can see all the pins that were dropped, okay? And as I switch zones, the calculations up here change. One other thing to point out is if you really botch something up, and we'll zoom in a little here, a little more. That's the max zoom, okay? If I need to edit an area, I can click this area. I can click the Edit Active Area button, and what that will do is it will allow me to move this line. So let's just say I made a mistake. You can drag all these points and move them around, okay? So that's done. You also, if you draw another area, I'll just do this for fun. I'll draw another area over here. Okay, we're going to draw a triangle. Notice that also removed the pins here. So if you have problems removing the pins, you can draw another area. This area is active now. If I created it by mistake or I decided I wanted to start over, I can highlight it to apply focus to that area, and then I can click remove active area and it removes it. Okay, so I can zoom out. I have my 2 zones. Looks beautiful. What I want to do next is I want to take this and I'm going to save it to a Word document. You can do it. You can put it in Photoshop. You can use whatever Word type application you have, or any other piece of software, or you could just print the screen if you wanted to. That's fine too. But what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go. I'm going to just move this up a little bit. I'm going to go full screen. Okay, toggle full screen view, just so it's blown up a little bit. In fact, I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so there's a nice zoom. And what I'm going to do, because I'm a Windows user, I'm going to use an application called Snipping Tool. Okay, and here's the Snipping Tool. And what you can do is it's already set for a rectangular snip. I'm going to click New, which puts it in snipping mode. And it allows me now to draw a rectangle of the area that I want to snip, okay? And that's the area I want. You can use this for any purpose on your computer. The other option is you could have just taken a print screen. But as I click that and release it, it has now taken the snapshot. I recommend that you do a file save as, and you can save this image for future reference, but because I'm going to put it directly into a Word document, I'm going to click Edit and then Copy. Okay. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come down and open my Word document. Okay. So I'm going to paste. In Windows, there's different ways to paste. You can right click and paste. You can use some commands in your software to paste, or a simple Windows command is Control V, and I just pasted that. So I have my image here. I have zone 1 and I have zone 2. Now what I would do in Word, I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to bore everybody, is I would drag out another Word box in here, and I would label one zone 1 and the other one zone 2. Okay, but what is important that we do here is transfer the measurement information. So what I'm going to do is go back to my map. I'm going to bring this back in out of full view so I have my data here. And I'm going to select zone 1. I'm going to highlight this area information, and I can right click and click copy, or you can hit Control C, which will do the same thing. I'm going to return to my Word document, and I am going to paste it in with Control V. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to the map. I'm going to highlight the other one. I'm going to grab this information. And you probably, if you work in square feet, just grab the square feet if that makes you happy. I just figured I'd grab the whole thing. Okay. So there you go. I have my map. I have my measurements. I have my zone 1 and I have my zone 2. This is something you definitely want to save because you're going to use it for future reference. But now what I want to explain is why is this information useful? Okay, so we're going to continue on, and I'm going to give you guys a quick explanation of that. Okay, guys, thanks for sticking through the video. I'm going to run through this relatively quickly, so don't go away. What I want to do is explain why having this map is useful, okay? Quick example, if you don't measure off your property, and let's just say you're doing zone 1, okay, and you have underestimated it, you think it's 2,500 square feet, you're spreading a pre-emergent or you're spreading a fertilizer. Let's go with the pre-emergent, okay? You don't put enough product down. A couple weeks later, you're out there, you're walking around, you got crabgrass popping up, it's coming out of your ears. Your neighbors are like, hey, what's going on? I thought, you were the lawn guy. What's your problem? What's your story, right? So what happened is you didn't get enough down, and with a pre-emergent, you're going to get breakthrough. You're going to get that crabgrass is going to germinate, and you basically wasted your money. Okay, the alternative to that is you have overestimated. Okay, let's just say you thought it was 10,000 square feet because you have no idea. You don't have a tape measure built into your foot, and you walked it off and you blew it. You thought it was 10,000 square feet, so you went out and you bought all this product, okay, and you put it down, and you didn't get any crabgrass. I guarantee you that's not going to happen. But what happened is you're looking at your grass and it's like, man, this doesn't look good. Well, prodiamine can stunt root growth. Okay, so that's a problem in itself. Number 2, you have so much prodiamine on the ground, which is potentially an environmental issue too, because there is, suggested application rate annually. But you have so much on the ground, you get into the fall and you're like, oh, I'm going to do an overseed project. I'm going to aerate. I'm going to dethatch. I'm going to seed. Your seed doesn't come up. You go out and you buy this fancy designer seed and it doesn't come up. So now you've blown money on seed, okay, because you can't get your grass to germinate in the fall, and you wasted a whole ton of money because you bought too much product. So I think you know where I'm coming from. So the practical use of the map, I'm going to explain now for the new DIY people. Okay, go out and buy yourself a spreader. I've used different spreaders. Right, currently I'm using an Earthways 2600, and there's going to be a link to it. I did a video on it. It's coming up in a second at the end here. Don't go away. But here's the example. I'm going to be doing a prodiamine application, and I'm going to do it all in one shot. I'm not splitting it. I don't want to confuse anybody. Nothing wrong with doing it all in one shot. 6 pounds per 1,000, I think, is the rate. Always check the bag. Always follow the directions. That's just from my memory. Okay, so for my particular spreader, there is a recommended spreader setting. So what I recommend that you do is go out and get yourself a notebook, put it in your shed, wherever you keep your equipment. You're going to write down the date. You're going to write down the product. You may want to add the active ingredient if you're putting a product name. That's up to you. Okay. You're going to put down the spreader you're using. Some people, they got a fleet of spreaders. They got Scott spreaders. They got Earthway spreaders. They got spikers. They got everything. I got one spreader, but some people like to collect spreaders. All right. I'm not gonna make fun of you if you got a whole warehouse of spreaders. But okay, so you're going to put the spreader name, and you're going to put the recommended spreader setting. Now, if I have an Earthway and my neighbor has one, we both put them together. The linkage is slightly different. The holes are slightly not the same when you set it on the same number. There could be a little bit of variability. So Okay, so I'm about to make an application to the zone, and the recommended application rate is 6 pounds per thousand. This zone number 1 is 5,000 square feet. So it's going to be 5 times 6 equals 30. So that's 30 pounds of product. So what I suggest you do is go to your local store or go on Amazon, get yourself a luggage scale. Okay, they're cheap. What you're going to do is put a bucket on it. You're going to calculate the weight of the bucket, or you're going to tare it if your scale allows you to tare. You're going to put 30 pounds of product in it. Okay, you're going to load that 30 pounds into your spreader. Okay, and let's assume that you're going to cover that zone going back and forth in one direction from left to right until you cover it all. Okay, the recommended spreader setting is 10. You get to the end of that zone, you look in your hopper, and you're like, oh, I got 2 pounds still in here. All right, number 1, what do I do? Okay, do your best educated guess. Set your spreader back. Okay, try to spread what remains in that out as evenly as possible. Do the best you can. Okay, you recorded it. The next time you use that product, you're going to put a note there that you had extra. Maybe you're going to set your spreader to 11 next time when you apply that product. Okay, you're going to apply that over your zone again the next time. You're going to get to the end. It's empty, almost empty, pretty much. You hit it right on the money. And there's some variability also because everyone walks at a different pace, okay? Material's coming out at the same rate. Depends on how fast you walk. So this is something you kind of learn. You teach yourself. It's not hard, okay? And it's even easier when you're doing your fertilization apps because you may be using the same product all summer. You may just want to go buy, Scott's straight up fertilizer, or maybe you're a Pro Pete guy, you're into some specialty fertilizer. That's fine. Do the same thing, and you're going to record it in your book, okay? And you're going to maintain that book, so when you use certain types of products, you know exactly what to set your spreader for in those zones. It's very simple. The only other caveat, if you're new to spreading, some people like to spread in one direction, and then they like to turn and cover the zone again in the other direction. It just gives you better coverage. Don't forget, okay, as a new DIYer, if you're doing that, you have to set the spreader at half the rate that the literature is telling you to do, because you're going to be walking that zone twice, understand? So you're going to be putting out the same amount of material, but you're going to do it at a lower rate so you can cover it twice. Simple, okay? That's pretty much it. I would suggest that what you probably should do is use this mapping application, put my video next to it if you feel like you need to. You can start and stop the video, build your map, save it, put it in a Word document, do whatever you want to do, print it out, write on it, record everything, and go out and have some fun with it. And if you decide to change your zones later, this application is so easy. As you guys saw, it only took a couple minutes. So you can come back in, you can tweak it, you can make a new map every year if you want. Say you put a planning in and you know where it is, you can account for that. You can come back in and change it. And these aerial maps that are part of this program, they're updated at a regular frequency. Most states do flyovers almost annually now for environmental reasons, for GIS. A lot of the environmental agencies do that. That's how they're accounting for wetlands and things like that. So they're great tools. And let me know how you guys make out. Let me know if you're using a different mapping app. I think this is easier than going out there with a tape measure. I think it's easier than walking it off because we all walk at a different gait, okay? My walking yard may be different than yours, and we're going to come up with different numbers. This is really accurate. I mean, you can go map a football, go find your local high school and map the football field, and just, we all know what the square footage of a football field is, or you can calculate it or look it up on the internet relatively easy, and check it out. Guys, I'm putting the spreader video up here. Check it out, but get out there, get it done. I hope you have a great lawn season. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below in the show, in the notes. In the show notes here, I do have a link to the website and a couple other links that you may find interesting to find products or other things, other resources. I'll see you guys next time on Lawn Journeys.